You know that feeling? You've worked incredibly hard, you've climbed the ladder, achieved real success in your leadership role, but there's still this nagging sense of unfulfillment, maybe even stress or burnout.
Like you're always chasing something just over the horizon.
Exactly. It feels like it never actually gets closer.
Hmm.
If that sounds familiar, well, you're definitely in the right place today.
Yeah.
We're going deep into something called boundless leadership. It's a framework that really pushes back against those conventional ideas about success and well-being.
It's such a common problem, isn't it? This idea that you somehow have to choose between doing well professionally and actually being happy.
Right. So our mission today is to unpack a fundamentally new way of being and leading, one that promises not just, greater impact, but real, sustained happiness, moving beyond those boundaries that stress seems to impose on us.
And the source material we're looking at, it offers both a kind of manifesto and a practical roadmap for making this shift. It draws on science, but also on, well, timeless practices.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We're going to dive into how leading can really become an inside job, tapping into potentials you might not even realize you have, with some genuinely surprising facts along the way.
Sounds good.
So let's start with this predicament. Why are so many leaders, even really successful ones, feeling unfulfilled? Our culture, it really pushes us to chase those milestones, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. We build up these big fantasies about success, thinking happiness is waiting at the finish line.
But the material points out we often find ourselves kind of lulled into a trance, chasing a horizon without noticing it's not getting closer. It's a powerful image.
It really is, and the framework is this great example. One of the authors, Elazar, he talks about meeting a lama who actually turned down a raise.
Turn down a raise.
Yeah, just said he didn't need anything, the money could do more good elsewhere. And Elazar felt this real sense of contentment from him.
Wow.
But then, in complete contrast, he speaks to a client, a senior vice president making 7 figures, who was furious about not getting her full bonus. She identified more with that discontent than all her success. It just shows that this gap, this suffering, it's really, as they put it, not limited to an individual or group. It's everyone.
And a huge part of why it's so widespread, according to this framework, is what they call the reptilian organization.
Right, the traditional kind of fear-based top-down structure.
Yeah, operating like a zero-sum game, a bit like musical chairs, where everyone's kind of anxious about being the one left standing.
Exactly. And these setups often unintentionally reinforce 2 things that undermine psychological safety, which you need for happiness. First, linking success only to moving up these narrow pyramids creates this false sense of scarcity.
Right. Not everyone can reach the top.
And second, using reward and punishment systems clashes directly with our basic human need for connection, for belonging.
So what happens?
Well, you get this constant state of self-protection, people feeling excluded. It makes happiness and that kind of success feel like they just can't coexist.
That sounds incredibly draining. And the framework explains why. Our brains apparently have these default survival modes, ancient stress-reactive instincts.
But crucially, we also have equally natural thriving modes. These are all about our social abilities, healing, growing.
Which makes you wonder about all those myths about stress, right?
Totally. The material really debunks quite a few. Like, you can't get rid of stress, or some stress is good for performance, or you just need to embrace the suck to build resilience.
Or that it's all hardwired in our reptilian brain.
Exactly. But decades of research actually show the opposite. We have this incredible capacity to reduce, even eliminate, the harmful impact of stress and trauma. Our thriving mode is actually where sustainable high performance comes from.
Okay, so if thriving is obviously better for us, why is it so hard to get out of survival mode?
It comes down to something called negativity bias.
Oh, yes.
Our brains are basically preset, like 5 to 10 times more likely to notice, give weight to, and hang on to negative things compared to positive ones.
An old evolutionary safety feature, I guess.
Pretty much. But it makes it really tough to shift gears consciously.
And this negativity bias feeds right into what the framework calls the fourfold cycle of stress and trauma.
Right. And the key point here is that something like 80% of the harm from external stress is actually, quote, an inside job. It depends entirely on how we interpret and react.
Okay, let's walk through those 4 phases.
Yeah.
First up is cognitive appraisal.
That's that instant judgment, often unconscious. We might blow a threat out of proportion or, underestimate our ability to handle it.
Then comes the emotional reaction. That appraisal triggers what they call a traumatic self-state.
Yeah, feeling vulnerable, alone, maybe victimized, sparking fear, anger, shame, those kinds of emotions.
And then the visceral reflex kicks in.
Fight, flight, freeze, faint. Our basic survival instincts take over. Our body gets flooded with stress hormones, like putting on a neurochemical suit of armor.
And finally, the cumulative impact.
That's just the wear and tear, mind, brain, body, life.
Yeah.
From being stuck in that stress reaction loop constantly.
What's fascinating, as you said, is how the conventional business world often seems to amplify these survival mechanisms.
It really does. It pushes us into a state that's fundamentally at odds with our natural ability to thrive and be happy.
So that's the problem laid bare. What's the promise here? How do we get out of this?
Well, the promise of boundless leadership is that it's not about learning more skills. It's about optimizing our inner conditions, our fundamental way of being.
So it's about rewiring those default mindsets that keep us stuck in survival mode.
Exactly. And the science behind this is neuroplasticity. The idea, first really articulated by Donald Hebb back in the 40s, that neurons that fire together wire together.
It basically turned old ideas about the brain upside down.
Completely. It means our brains aren't fixed after childhood. They're dynamic, like a muscle. They literally change and grow with use.
And there's that amazing study mentioned about the rats.
Oh yeah, Rosenzweig's experiments. Rats that got nurturing stimulation, the kind of thing they liken to a daughter's love, their brains were actually 10 to 15% larger. More cells, more connections.
That's incredible. It suggests positive social connection physically changes our brains for the better.
It's profound. It means we can consciously sculpt our own brains through practice. We can build qualities like awareness, compassion, fearlessness.
So the path then is about optimizing and crucially integrating mind, heart, and body.
Yes. Deprogramming survival mode and accessing thriving mode at all three levels. Perception, that's the mind. Emotion, the heart. And that visceral feeling, the body.
So what this means for you, listening, is that you genuinely have the power to change your fundamental operating system, not just tweaking behaviors on the surface.
It's a big shift in perspective.
Okay, let's get practical. Let's dive into the first of the three disciplines. The discipline of mind, self-awareness, and clarity.
And they really hammer home this idea again. Leadership is an inside job. Your awareness. That's your most valuable tool.
Right. If it's blocked by bias or stuck, it's like putting the wrong starting point into your GPS, as they say.
Yeah. Boundless leadership gives you the tools to observe, check, and adjust what your minds are doing.
So how do they define these terms? Self-awareness and clarity.
Self-awareness is described as the highest form of awareness. It's about freeing the mind from bias, seeing the bigger picture, like stepping out of a tunnel into a wide-open landscape. It includes seeing your blind spots.
And clarity.
Clarity is the ability to see things exactly as they are, without, clinging to what you want to see or avoiding what you fear or mistaking your assumptions for reality.
That's hard. What gets in the way?
Well, a big one is misperception. Just not seeing things accurately,
Yeah.
making assumptions, and then acting like they're facts.
Like that example of the SVP whose presentation bombed.
Exactly. She assumed it was her fault, but really the CEO was just in a terrible mood because of issues at home. But that misperception reinforced her own negative self-beliefs.
And they also mentioned conditioned biases, race, gender, etc., how toxic they are for trust.
Definitely. Another huge obstacle is attachment to outcome.
Meaning?
Being so fixated on getting a specific result that you can't see the reality of the situation. You become rigid, insistent, and that's a liability.
Like the client, Jocelyn, with Nick the Nemesis.
Right. She was stuck in an us versus them frame. Once she let go of that attachment and saw the situation more clearly, Nick actually became an ally. It shows how releasing that rigid intention can completely change the dynamic.
So how do we fight misperception and attachment? Where do we start?
It really comes down to attention. They call it the most critical part of the apparatus of our minds and our brains.
Because attention drives neuroplasticity.
Precisely. Consciously controlling where you place your attention is the key to overriding that negativity bias we talked about.
And through mindful attention training, we can develop 4 key qualities of mind. What are they?
Okay, first is presence. Real presence, being deeply connected to yourself, open, aware, able to read the room and adapt. It's not that superficial, stressed kind of presence we sometimes see.
And that connects to employee engagement, right?
Absolutely. Those Gallup stats, only about a third of employees feeling engaged, partly because they don't feel seen as people.
Like kids know instantly if a parent isn't really present.
Exactly. Neuroscientists are confirming the brain is a social organ. It doesn't function optimally in isolation or when feeling unseen.
Okay, presence. What's second?
Balance. Keeping a steady mind. Not getting swept away by the highs or dragged down by the lows.
Like riding a horse, they say. Staying in the saddle.
Yeah, staying connected to your energy, your body, not getting thrown off by every bump. Imagine you practice a presentation with a colleague who's supportive, then in the real meeting, they challenge you unexpectedly. Balance helps you refocus on the task, not get sidetracked by wondering about their motives.
Makes sense?
Third,
Unbiased awareness. Being present to reality without those preconceived ideas filtering everything, not being swayed by biases. And the insight there is that we all have biases. It's unavoidable.
right. It's not natural or neurologically possible for us not to have biases. The key is becoming aware of them so they don't remain blind spots.
And the fourth quality,
Discernment. Seeing the whole picture, knowing what truly matters, letting go of old judgments to see things fresh.
presence, balance, unbiased awareness, discernment. Powerful qualities.
And there's a really practical tool offered for applying this. CAT.
ZAT.
Clarify, align, take action. Specifically for your intentions, it helps you untangle competing intentions.
Okay, how does it work? First, clarify intentions.
Yeah. You list all your intentions for a situation. Surface ones, hidden ones, deep ones. For yourself, others, the whole thing. Maybe label them. Is this about protecting myself or growing?
Then align intentions.
Pick your primary intention. Then look at the others. Do they support it? If not, adjust them or just remove them from the equation for the situation.
And finally, take action.
With that clarity, the next right step usually just becomes obvious.
They give that example of pitching a big account. The main goal is winning it. Okay, keep that. Wanting to impress your boss for a promotion. Okay, maybe keep that too.
Right. But needing to convince your team you're worthy, maybe change that to modeling a great presentation.
And needing dad's approval or silencing your inner critic.
Probably remove those. They're not best served by this pitch meeting.
It focuses your energy.
Hugely. There's that anecdote about the client with the unfair evaluation. She shifted her intention from telling her manager how she felt, which was kind of aggressive, to for her manager to know how she felt.
A subtle shift in words.
But it completely changed the energy, from anger to openness and clarity. And her manager apparently said, "It was the first time my manager saw me."
Wow. That's a powerful transition into the second discipline. The discipline of heart, authentic engagement, and compassion.
Yeah, this one really tackles our usual sense of being separate individuals. The material argues we are all part of one infinitely complex living system.
So leading from compassion isn't just being nice, it's manifesting that interdependence.
Exactly. And compassion here isn't just feeling for someone. It's defined as an active consequence of an upgrade to empathy. It's understanding and actively responding to help ease suffering. Real, genuine, caring engagement.
Like the example of President Kagame in Rwanda choosing reconciliation over revenge.
Yes, seeing it not just as morally right, but strategically smart. It preserved resources, energized the nation. A deeply compassionate and effective leadership choice.
But developing this compassion isn't always straightforward, is it? Because of the traumatic self-habit.
Right. That deep-seated insecurity from our earliest experiences of being vulnerable and dependent, it creates that social anxiety that, what if you don't like me, feeling.
The inner critic.
Yeah, often triggered by social stress.
And this discipline also tackles myths about emotions being weaknesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like empathy being soft.
Definitely. It contrasts the old survival of the fittest, greed is good mindset with the new science.
Which says,
That positive social emotions, love, care, joy, calm, are like clean energy. They fuel well-being, meaning, purpose, and optimal brain function. They actually stroke our inner reptile, turning it into a happy, friendly creature.
and that incredible Harvard study, 85 years long.
Amazing, isn't it? Showing that loving, caring relationships were the single biggest predictor of happiness, success, health, well-being across the board.
So relationships are key.
Fundamentally. And neuroscience backs it up. Training in compassion shifts the amygdala, the fear center, from being reactive to being proactively engaged. It lights up reward circuits. You get satisfaction, not fear.
So compassion feels good biologically.
Yes. It's an advantage, not a weakness.
Which links to Adam Grant's Wharton study on givers, matchers, and takers.
Right. And the surprising finding there.
The worst performers were givers, but so were the best performers.
Exactly. The difference was authentic giving versus inauthentic giving. The top performers gave because they genuinely wanted to. It felt good. The bottom performers gave because they felt they should, and it drained them. Authenticity is key.
Okay, so within this discipline of heart, 4 qualities again. First,
Empathy. Accurately understanding and caring about others' inner worlds. Vital for connection, for reading social cues, but it's not the same as sympathetic distress, where you just get dragged down by someone else's negative feelings.
Right. If you don't connect with your team through real empathy, you lose engagement, trust, creativity. It's foundational.
Second is resilience. Not grit, not just toughing it out. It's the ability to release setbacks, insults, losses, and bounce back. Agility, balance, letting go.
And this ties back to early childhood. Feeling abandoned when mom left the room.
Yeah, holding on to those worst-case feelings. Healing that requires self-acceptance, self-compassion. Like that CEO who healed his need for praise, became resilient to criticism, and changed his whole company culture.
Third quality.
Engagement. Fostering collaboration, creativity, innovation. We talked about the low engagement stats.
Only 30% engaged, often due to lack of safety and connection.
Right. But the flip side is that positive energy, real engagement, it's also contagious.
Good point. And fourth,
Inspiration. Tapping into that positive social energy to bring out the best in others. Like a biological second wind.
driven by clean energy, those hormones like oxytocin, cuddle hormone, and vasopressin, play hormone.
Exactly. And you don't have to be some charismatic genius to inspire. You just need to be in a good place in your own nervous system. A practical tip here is mentor bonding, visualizing, and really internalizing the qualities of people who inspire you.
So how do we apply all this? What's the core practice for the heart?
It's called empowered responsibility, shifting away from blame and fault towards understanding the dynamics and owning your part.
Seeing it like physics, not personal attacks.
Pretty much. It's about the physics of how things play out. It's not personal. And there are levels. Responsibility for actions, then feelings, reactions, then intentions. That takes real confidence and vulnerability.
Like Elazar at that board meeting.
Perfect example. Tension was high. He just calmly owned his mistake. No excuses. It instantly changed the tone. Someone else owned up too. It built trust, shifted focus to solutions.
What stops us from doing that more often?
Shame, usually. That's the weapon in reptilian leadership. Blame, punishment. Boundless leadership gives you tools to work through shame so you can model accountability and vulnerability instead, which, again, is contagious in a good way.
Okay, that covers mind and heart. Let's move to the third discipline, discipline of body. Embodied flow and fearlessness.
This one directly challenges that old mind-body split. You know, Descartes. I think, therefore I am.
Right, treating the body like a machine the mind drives.
But this framework says mind, heart, and body are constantly interacting. It mentions Keynes's animal spirits, those deeper visceral drives like panic or greed or joy, rooted in the brainstem, felt in the body.
So if we ignore the body's conditioning, we're being driven by forces we don't even recognize.
Exactly. We're unaware of what's really running the show.
The goal here seems to be shifting energy sources. Away from fear, what will get me out of bed, towards passion, craft.
Yes, accessing the clean energy of flow. It introduces Stephen Porges's idea of the social engagement system in the reptilian brain. Think of it like a friendliness switch.
A friendliness switch.
Yeah, it allows us to shift out of that primal self-protection mode and into an expansive, connected state, the state where flow happens.
So connecting this back, sustained high performance isn't about muscling through on stress.
No, it comes from accessing this innate flow state where even the oldest parts of our brain get an upgrade to support thriving, not just surviving.
Okay, 4 qualities for the body. First,
Boundless vision. This is about removing the self-limiting blinders, our interpretations, assumptions, fears to see infinite possibility.
and neuroscience shows our minds aren't just cameras, they're like projectors.
Or virtual reality generators, yeah. The brain experiences imagery just like reality. Imagining playing the piano changes the brain like actually playing does. Visualization is powerful.
So our default vision is like a limiting script we're stuck in.
And boundless vision means you get to rewrite that script. You can genuinely envision new possibilities.
Second quality.
Empowering speech. This is about re-scripting negative self-talk, but also about the tone of voice.
Alsan.
A warm, caring tone literally calms the nervous system via specific nerves. It shifts you physiologically from stress to fearless social engagement. Speech that engages our warmest, open tones is a truly empowering medium of communication.
It includes performative speech acts.
Yeah, words that create reality, like "I now pronounce you," or affirmations that recreate your identity. I can lead with clarity, compassion, and fearlessness. Saying it starts to make it true.
Third quality.
Natural flow. Getting into that state of peak concentration and well-being, balancing focused arousal with deep relaxation.
And distinguishing dirty energy, adrenaline, cortisol from clean energy.
Right. The clean energy comes from social flourishing, serotonin, oxytocin. Pushing through on stress hormones alone isn't sustainable or fulfilling. True flow taps into these positive, socially driven neurochemicals.
And breath work is the key to accessing it.
It's described as the joystick or gear shift for the brainstem, a direct way to regulate your state and find that flow.
Okay. And the fourth quality of body.
Fearless embodiment, adopting a less guarded, more fluid, open, even playful physical stance and movement.
Because our posture affects our mind. Embodied cognition.
Absolutely. Slumped posture breeds anxiety, expansive posture builds confidence, and remember, body language is over half of communication. Our bodies are constantly talking to other people's nervous systems through mirror neurons.
Like Elazar feeling like a different person in cowboy boots.
Yeah. Almost getting into a fight. It's a vivid example of how changing your body, your posture, your embodiment can fundamentally change your mindset and how you interact with the world.
So the application here is embodied purpose.
Exactly. Integrating all four: boundless vision, empowering speech, natural flow, fearless embodiment to align who you are and what you do with positive values, creating real meaning and purpose.
So as we wrap this up, the framework offers a visual tool, the mandala of boundless leadership.
Yes, like a personal map of your transformation. The outer circle represents mind, clarity, awareness, and heart, compassion, engagement, protecting the core work of the body.
And you can personalize it with mentors, symbols.
Yeah, images of mentors, symbols like gems or animals, maybe even things representing your impact. It prompts a question, really. How will you visualize your own journey to embody this? How will you bring it alive for yourself?
It feels like the whole journey boils down to 3 big shifts or turns.
That's right. First, from a critical mind to an open mind.
Second, from a careful, maybe guarded heart to a truly caring heart.
And third, from a guarded energy and stance to a fluid energy and stance. Mind, heart, body.
And grounded in those core principles. Mindset is key for perception. Mind. Well-being comes from thriving together. Heart. And our brains have that friendliness switch for clean energy and flow, body.
Exactly.
So what we've explored today suggests leadership isn't really about adding more skills or fixing flaws in the usual sense.
No, it's more counterintuitive. It's about removing the self-limiting blocks, the obscurations, to let the greatness that's already inside emerge.
Like Michelangelo freeing David from the marble, removing what wasn't David.
That's a great analogy.
So the question for you listening is, what stone are you ready to start removing to reveal the boundless leader already within you?
Maybe just consider one small step you could take today. Just identify one self-limiting habit in your thinking, your feeling, or even your posture, and start to gently shift it.
And just invite yourself to see yourself and your potential impact from this new, truly boundless perspective.